Welcome back, folks, to World of Warships Legends. I'm Soopa-Dave, and today's build and play guide is on Huan, I believe is how you pronounce this. I'm not sure. You guys don't come here for pronunciations. The Pan-Asian premium cruiser that is in the shop right now. Like I said, not trying to sell ships. I'm not part of the CC program or anything like this. I pay for all these ships that I showcase you guys. But this ship is and I know I like a lot of ships, so you guys can give me crap. But this ship was a pleasant surprise. Okay. Um, I really enjoy this ship. Let's get into the commander. This is a uh, British light cruiser, essentially, that was moved over to the Far East. So it actually, in my opinion, kind of plays like a poor man's Belfast. Kind of. It's hard to explain. It is a light cruiser, but we only have one Pan Asian cruiser commander right now, and it kind of sucks because with only one build, like for example, I wouldn't normally use Makawa, and I wouldn't normally use some of the perks that are on here. In fact, I would adjust them a little bit differently if I were you guys. But because I have to use this for all Pan Asians, not just the tech tree, but my premium ships, I kind of have more of a balanced cruiser build here for it. So we're using Makawa. I would recommend something else because this does have smoke on it. Um, but Membali, as you can see, guerrilla warfare is his base trait. Now here, honestly, this thing does have pretty good range. You could put it into fire chance, but also ingenious wouldn't be bad either. Kind of flexible with the perks that you could put on this ship. This thing starts enough fires as it is. Igniter definitely helps with that. And then you could take Sponge here, or honestly, Velocious would be good. There's not really a wrong way to build this ship. The only perk I probably would rule out on this build is smoke or the torpedo chaos. I have that. I wouldn't do that. I would do the dispersion and the no fly zone. This thing is pretty flexible with when you're putting perks on it. Kind of a very interesting ship. Um, Even in the limited time I played it. So upgrades here, as you can see, Aiming Systems Mod 1 is always prop mod in slot 2. For consumables, you could do defensive AA, you could do torp reloads, but because of the smoke, you could 100% go down with the sonar, and I prefer that because this ship only has 3 torpedoes per side. So I would recommend doing sonar also because the smoke is a kind of a rolling smoke. Not you can outrun it if you go too fast, but at quarter speed or less, you can actually move around in your smoke, making this sonar even more handy than it already is having a smoke. So there is a pretty decent cooldown between them though, so it's not really rapid fire like the other Pan Asian smoke. So but anyway, here, the specs 24,000 health. It doesn't have a lot of health in real life. This thing was like a destroyer hunter, kind of like quote unquote Atlanta. But this thing is not a lot of health. So your main battery, this is a light cruiser. You have 6 152s. They reload in 6.6 seconds. Now, that sounds very unimpressive, right? But these guns, along with a lot of Pan Asian guns actually in general, I feel are pretty underrated, especially with starting fires if you build into the fires. I mean, it's all in play styles. These are Pan Asian cruisers, and this one's no different. Even though this has a different play style, they all end up being pretty flexible, in my opinion. And even though this doesn't look like the guns would be very good, I can assure you, you can start fires and you can be an absolute nuisance. These guns do pen, it's 25 millimeters of HE pen, so most of the time you're aiming at superstructures on battleships. But cruisers, you're going to pen everything but the belt on a cruiser. So the HE itself, pretty solid for what it is, and I feel like people would underrate the guns on this ship, right? Torpedoes, not bad. These are pretty good for the tier. In fact, they hit pretty well. and they are a little bit usable. It's got pretty good firing angles on the torps. They're in the middle of the ship, and being that you have smokes, they're not knocked out all the time. Um, and they're, like I said, they're deep water torps as well. They're Pan Asian torps, so they are deep water. But anyway, here as you can see, AA Defense 65. It's actually not bad for Tier 5, to be honest. Haven't had to use it, but you definitely, what it looks like here, you have some long range at 5 kilometers. That will help out, and you have some at kind of as you get in closer, but a significant part of it is out at range, which is helpful. Maneuverability, really good turning circle at 570. The maximum speed, 33 knots, not too bad. It's a shifty little boat if you want it to be. You don't necessarily have to do it that way, but it is shifty if you want it to be. Detectability by range is 10.6, so not too bad. It's a little worse than I would say the normal Pan Asians, I think, but not too bad. I'm not going to show you guys stats because I just have the one game in it, and I do not want to wreck it for you because it is a fun one. All right, so this looks really bad at first, right? And I was gonna laugh at this, but when you see how the ship's armor is, so this is kind of like a hyper big destroyer, I guess you would say. It's a really small cruiser. You guys can see here that you have a 16 millimeter bow and stern, meaning you are overmatched by everything that has bigger guns than a normal heavy cruiser in the game. So you got to be careful. Not as careful as other ships, and the reason why is even though you have a low health pool, right? We'll take off this right here. This is your side plating on your Citadel. You can actually bounce shells off of this. Now everything else is overmatched on the ship, right? But you do have this upper side plating that can actually bounce some shells above your Citadel, and also the Citadel is actually relatively small. You would notice most ships have a Citadel that go from turret to the front turrets to the back turrets. This is just in the middle of the ship. It's a small Citadel. Now, granted, if somebody's got good aim, they can wreck you. But because of how lightly armored the bow and stern is on this thing, you can get away with more than what you should be able to in this thing. Just to let you know, I'm not saying be dumb in it. Also, you're going to be in smoke some of the time, so and it's a very shifty ship. So a lot of things kind of surprised me about this thing with that armor plate. So you can get a little away with more than what you think, but I wouldn't push your luck on it. As we start the match, it's disclaimer time. This is a beginner's video meant to help people new to the ship or new to the game. This is not meant for professional gamers that know everything there is to know about everything in the universe. There are multiple ways to play and build this ship, and I am an above average player, not the world's best. I make mistakes. You may see one in this match. You didn't come here for pronunciations. I'm as good as anybody at slaughtering beautiful languages all the time. With that out of the way, we are on Greece, and on this low tier setup, this is actually a fun map for me because you get into some interesting crossfires and fun. But I do want to say right off the bat, our destroyer guy, I think he's in an Anson. If you're watching this, good play, man. For the most part, you were super helpful in this. He's actually, in the beginning of the match, can go straight out and spot. That's a good thing to see at Tier 5, right? Also, you can see the good torpedoes, the deep water torpedo firing angles here. And we're going to be careful. We're not going to expect, we're going to let other people come to us here on this corner. Normally, either people run away from this side or they charge in way too heavy, right? So we're just going to use our waiting skill, our waiting ability to go ahead and just ride this one out. Our destroyer spotting battleships in the middle of the map. And this is actually going to be quite the fun match. Like, also, the guns are quite accurate on this thing. For a light cruiser, these shells aren't that hard to aim. And I have over a 50% in this match. I have over a 50% accuracy with it. I know it's only one match, but these shells are pretty easy to aim and they're pretty accurate. They're not as floaty as like some of the Asian shells. So we're going to go ahead. There is Grass B coming in, and you can assume he's got the German ship syndrome where he's going to want to charge and get out of, or get his torpedoes off. And also you see me here make a mistake. I kind of outrun my smoke. You can see it's still, even though we've hit it, our duration is still going, meaning it's still putting out smoke, and it only lasts 10 seconds each puff, but it puts it out for, I think, like 80 or 90 seconds. So we're assuming this Grass B is just going to go ahead and try to charge this corner. So we need to not be right here in case he charges into our smoke. So we're going to start to turn around and get ready to kite if we need to. We're going to throw out them torpedoes, expecting him not to stop. We're expecting him to charge, right? So we're going to put out some torpedoes, and we're going to put another set out there in case he does slow down and then poke his head out. We'll have another set for him. So Peter Veliki is spotted, and you guys are going to see here that even with the slow start here, with the first 3 minutes not doing much, it's going to get pretty quick here in a second. This is going to be a fun match, and you're going to see this ship is pretty dodgy right here. You can see that it can turn real sharp. This thing is very surprisingly, did not expect this out of this ship, because some ships stats are what they are as we take out Grass B. This one caught me off guard on how much I liked it because of the shiftiness, and it's kind of versatile for tier 6. The guns, I feel like if you look at them on paper, they don't seem that good, but if you're aiming in the right spots, it does pretty darn good DPM wise. You're gonna see what we do in this match. They start a ton of fires, and honestly, they do a significant amount of damage, because you're going to see this match isn't even a witherer either, which it very well could have been when you guys see the fires that I start on this thing. I get all unlucky on a couple of them. Hopefully I remember to showcase the part where there's, I think, 1 or 2 occasions where I get a triple fire and stop somebody's fire with fire. And otherwise it would have been even a better game. But at tier 5, this is going to be a fun match. So our teammates are doing a good job. We're just getting some spotting. Also, we are burning down Peter Veliki. Our teammates are also not in a position where they're putting themselves at super risk. So really good teammates this match, and that really can make a ship feel better when you can get a chance to opportunity to shoot. This is if you're a division player, this is a ship that would be good too, because with spotting, the ship in the decent AA that it has, but with spotting, this thing could be a lot of fun, even more than it already is. I'm not sure what other people, what you guys all think of this ship. For the people that do have it, I really like it, and I think going forward it's going to be a lot of fun. Now you can see I aimed too low there, and I shattered a bunch of shells off the side of the Warspite, so we're going to aim up a little bit higher. But you can see, even with my shells, we're doing, when we get them to hit, we're definitely doing damage to these guys, and we'll be able to showcase it later a little bit more. But you can see another fire. I mean, this thing is there's another fire. like, wait, do you want me to go on and just thinking there's another fire? Oh man, I mean, you could fully build into putting fires up. But you can see that big chunk we did a decent chunk on Tennessee there without even starting to fire there. Another decent chunk. Like, you do 3 to 4,000 damage every 6 seconds. People aren't going to notice it, but you're going to be another annoying mosquito. Also, another fire. Like, do I need to talk about the fires on this ship? The amount of the ability to start fires on this, and I know we got a couple battleships to shoot at, but we're being super annoying. Also, the destroyer on their team was last spot in the middle of the map, And you guys know I can only shoot at battleships so long before I decide I want to go destroyer hunting. And in real life, that's actually what this ship was made for, believe it or not. Was hunting destroyers, and we're gonna use that, try to test out our agility, and try to find this. Oh, look, I'm spotted. We have a sonar coming up. I'm not too worried about it. I just got to be careful I don't get smoked by a destroyer or a battleship here. And in the meantime, might as well go out and throw some more shots out downrange. Maybe start another fire. For a ship that doesn't advertise itself as a flamethrower, and not granted, I could have had some good luck in this, but I'm telling you, I mean, 50% fire chance on shells every 6 seconds, you're going to start fires, right? That's just a fact. So, you know, using this thing as a mini flamethrower, definitely good. So we know with our sonar exactly where this destroyer is. He's basically out in front of us. So we know right now we're not much of a threat, and I kind of want to get rid of them. And we're kind of behind islands from these battleships, so we're somewhat safe. You know, we went the whole match, and that's the first damage we took, so we've been really smart about that. And we got a little bit of health to play with, and actually I don't think we're really going to use much of it. But granted, you don't have a heal, so you don't want to get too many fires on you because you can't really heal it back. Obviously here, our destroyer's moving up with us, and I ask him for a request help here. Yeah, right here, I request help. He says, yep, and he's been a solid destroyer player so far that it seems, so I'm trusting him. We're going to go in and just charge this guy, essentially. Now, this onsen is now not the best aim shot there. Should have let him a little bit. But we get our high caliber, and we know more torps are coming, but he blind fired them torps, basically. So now that we're not spotted, we could go back to... again, starting fires, right? Like this thing's fun. Now, if you aim too low like I did a few times there, I wasted, this could have been a better game if I didn't aim too low as we start another fire. If you aim too low, you can shatter on the sides of the battleships, but if you get up into the superstructure, like particularly at Tennessee, right, that you guys saw, like that one right there, we did a lot of damage to him right away, so... We're going to go ahead and start shooting. We're going to use... Now, one thing I didn't realize here is that I was zoomed in right here. I'm actually going to pop my smoke. And did not realize my destroyer was... I was so focused on that ship, I didn't see my destroyer putting down smoke for me. So sorry about that, Anson. You played well, and you even laid down a smoke for me. Thank you. As we did... I think that was where one of our triple fires that just happened. That would have been a permanent fire, but... it dictated that we don't get the damage off him for a second. And again, I mean, what, 17 fires in 10 minutes in this ship? Like, at tier 5, that's really solid. Like, that is, in my opinion, it's really solid. Now, his superstructure is soaked, so we're doing a, you know, is saturated, so we're doing a little bit less damage to him now than we were before. But we are trying to start more fires, because why not? And we're going to, because our sonar ran out, we didn't want to charge in with our destroyer spotting. So now we're going to go ahead and move up. And we're going to try to, my point of moving up here is to try to get rid of the destroyer. Now, granted, the match is almost over, obviously. But I still like hunting destroyers. It's kind of one of my things I love doing. It doesn't matter what ship I am. And a lot of times I will, you know, go for it. So we're going to keep charging up. And you see, we're even able to lob that island a little bit. Like I said, shells aren't as lobby as you would expect the light cruisers to be. But still, you can lob some islands with them. So, really handy. And, like, big thing with this ship is definitely with the armor that you see on it. It has a small citadel with you where you can get away with stuff. But because everything ever matches you, you want to put yourself in positions where you limit, well, any ship, you want to limit who can shoot you. But particularly in this ship, if you're not paying attention and seeing what's coming at you, it could be rough. Now we see the destroyer, so we switch over to the destroyer right away. But as you can see, I'm going to take some shots at him as we start yet another fire. But we're going to go ahead and hit him. But this match is now over. But I think we did like almost 130,000 damage with a high caliber We got a cap. We terrorized the other enemy destroyer. We were first on the leaderboard. 2,500 base game at tier 5 solid, helping our team win most importantly. But anyway, you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you folks next time. Have a good one.